Hello and welcome to today's video. I want to start off today's video by saying I'm sorry if I sound stuffier than normal. We've had some inconsistent weather here in Nebraska this past week, and we had a really hot day followed by a blizzard, and then I think the previous flooding incident we had has caused my allergies and sinuses just to be absolutely terrible. So I'm having a lot harder time breathing with that. So like I said, I'll probably sound a little bit stuffier, but I still wanted to get this video done. And this video is a figurine of a character from Kingdom Hearts. I had a few requests to do something from Kingdom Hearts, and I've only played the first game. So I thought I would do one of the Heartless from that game. All right, let's get started. So before I get started, I went ahead and set up all my supplies. I also have a couple reference pictures on my phone. I really like that chibi version of the Heartless, so I'm going to try to go for that style. I'm going to go ahead and I'll set aside the glow-in-the-dark clay. I won't need that until I do the eyes. And then I'll go ahead and build up the basic shape of the body with some foil. And if you notice, I always use those sheets of foil. They seem to be a little bit thinner. And if you use the heavy-duty foil, it's nice, but it's harder to get it smooth, so you notice that texture of the foil more when you put clay over it, and this I can smooth out pretty well. So once I've got the body covered, I decided I would go ahead and add a texture to it. In the games, the Heartless look pretty smooth, but I mean, it's originally a PS2 game. I played it on the PS3. But yeah, I think PS2 is where it came out first. So, I mean, they weren't going to necessarily have texture as much on them. But I just thought adding the texture would be a good look to them and make the sculpture a little more interesting. So, since I wanted to do that chibi style one, I wanted to have him sitting down. So I went ahead and made his legs off to the side like this instead of having standing up. Once the legs are done, I'll go ahead and shape out both his feet. And so I just take a little bit of black clay and then try to get, two of these teardrop shapes about the same size and then get them added to the legs. And then go over the legs with that same ball tool to add kind of a texture to his legs and feet that match the body. I didn't do it on the base of the feet, I just wanted it on the top. Now for his arms, if you notice in the picture, they're pretty thin. So what I'm going to do with those is I'll put some wire in there. So I'm going to go ahead and make his hands first. And he just has these 3 pointed little fingers. And then I'll go ahead and put some black clay around the wire and have it meet at the shoulder. And then have the other end meet at the hand and smooth those into place. And the reason why I'm using wire, I think I started to say, but these arms are really thin, and if I didn't have the wire there, when it bakes, the clay kind of softens up and it would droop even more. And so with that wire, it'll keep it in place, and then once it's baked and then it hardens, it'll be fine. The other way I could do it is I could bake them separately and then attach them, but I just thought this method would work fine for it. And then I went ahead and added the texture to the arms and the hands. And then I just went back over the entire figurine with the ball tool to kind of touch up the texture. A lot of the texture will get smoothed out or lost when you move it around. I also decided to go ahead and give him a little butt crack there because I think all monsters should have butt cracks. I'm just weird that way. Anyway, so I'll go ahead and bake this part. Now it's time to bake our clay. Remember, always bake your clay according to package instructions. So there is the body all baked, and the reason why I did that is so that would be solid and I wouldn't have to worry about messing up my texture or any of my details or any of the shape of it when I'm adding the head to it. And you see here I went back into where his wrists are. I wasn't happy with how those met, the hand and the arm, so I went ahead and added some more clay and then added that texture to it. I did add a little bit of liquid Sculpey at the base of his neck, and then I'll make a little bit of a small neck for him. You can't really notice a neck in the games, but I figured if I had his head tilted, I would need something in that space on that one side. So I just went ahead and did a small neck and then kind of cut it at an angle. So his head would rest on his neck, but then his left side of his head would rest on his shoulder. Now, I'm not doing the exact proportions of the chibi one from the reference picture just because I thought that head would be way too big. And I was actually a little bit worried about this head being too big and not resting on there well enough during the baking process. But I was willing to risk it, and I could fix it afterwards if I did have an issue. If you notice on my desk, there's a lot of specks of black. I did run into an issue with this clay. I think it was a little bit older and is a little more crumblier. So it took me longer to work with it, but I didn't want to waste it. So I did go ahead and use it for this project. And, in the end, it turns out fine. Spoiler. So for his eyes, I just went ahead and did use the ball tool to make like eye sockets. And then after I get his little antennas done, I'll go back and make those. So these antenna, I want that one on the side to droop more because it's, his head's tilted. So I started with the upright one, but I was a little worried because it was pressing against his head. So I took some foil and kind of rested it there to see if that would work. And so when I go ahead and bake this guy, I will put that foil in place, and that way there's that space there. Now the other one, like I said, I wanted it to droop more because, in reality, gravity would be pulling that one down more. But it just didn't look right. So I went ahead and made it more like this one and then just gave it a little bit of a tilt. And I was happy with that than trying to match up with the picture. Sometimes when doing a sculpture, you can't always do what's, in a video game or what's in a picture because you have, gravity that's working against you or for you, as many cases are. So now that I'm happy with him, I'm going to go ahead and do the eyes. I did wash my hands and get that black clay off there, but I still noticed some little specks on there. So instead of fighting against that, I just took a little bit of black clay and marbled it in with the glow in the dark, so he would kind of have a pattern to his eyes. And so it's just one of those little, Bob Ross happy little accidents and make it intentional. Now it's time to bake our clay. Remember, always bake your clay according to package instructions. Alright, here is my finished Heartless figurine from Kingdom Hearts. If you have ideas for future videos, please leave them in the comments down below. Like I said in the introduction, this came directly from viewer comments. I also have a community tab on YouTube that asks for ideas. So I do read all of those. I try to do as many as I can. I don't necessarily do them in order, just depends on what I'm inspired to do and what I have the material for. Alright, well thank you so much for watching, and remember, never stop creating. Bye.